All right, let me do a little sound check here. Looks like my sound's working. Looks like all my stuff's good. All right, let's go look at some of the stuff I need to check on. I need to check on our labs. I need to check on the lab book. Let me get in there for a minute. Give me a second here. Gotta connect to some things and get some stuff set up and see what we can get going on here. So let's go to, what's the name of that site? LeanPub. There we go. See if I can't get connected in here. Hold on a second, guys. I'm trying to find something here in the system. I feel like it's taking longer than it should. All right. Let's go over here. And let's go. We're gonna be working on some Linux today. We're always doing Linux, but I did all my Stig stuff. I don't have any other Stig stuff that I need to work on for right now, and that's glorious. Like, I don't know. Sometimes you like doing stretch type things as an engineer, but sometimes you're like, I also like to just do Linux as much as I can too. But you know, we don't get to just build things because they're fun for us. We got to build them because they're for the company, right? Like they're for whoever is paying us, as far as that goes. So let's go look through. I got to look through some. The easiest way to do this might just be to pull this up and look right here, and let's go see if there's anything. I gotta kind of review some stuff and see if there's anything that I need to add into my book before I update it for publishing again, right? And so here's what we're going to do. We're going to go look at the labs that are there, and we're just going to look through them. So the first one is system checking. That's there. The second one is kernel and packages. That's there. Next one is checking disk and mount information. Yep, that's there. Checking network and ports. Yep, that's there. SSH and SCP. That's there. Screen commands. That's there. And then 7, we've got working with DNS, but we don't have the 6.5. So we're gonna add the 6.5, which is the TMUX, right? We're gonna add that in for fun. So I'm gonna grab all this right here. Oops, went a bit too far. Right? So I come down here. Can give this a little bit of space here, and we're going to paste this in, and then we're going to change this to 6.5, and that's going to be TMUX commands. We'll call it TMUX like that. That's fine. And then we've got to change the actual link to that. So the link to that's going to be found over here. Screen and TMUX. So here's our 6.5 TMUX one. And that's going to be right here for our lab link. Boom. And these are going to be the same. That's going to be the same. Okay, so now we got to go do, we got to kind of do the lab. So if anybody wants to do the lab with me and do some TMUX stuff, I'm going to link it to you guys here. And I won't pin it because we're not going to be in it for so long, but we can at least have it. That's funny, Tmate. TMAC. Okay. Make this a little bigger so you guys can read it. And we'll get in here. You're a new systems engineer for a small Linux-based tech company. You have heard the other systems engineers are using TMUX and how awesome it is. You've inquired them on why they are currently using it, and thus they have given you sample configuration to set up your own TMUX multiplexer. Let's inspect our TMUX file, start TMUX, and do all that. So we'll install TMUX, and then we'll do a cat root TMUX. Okay. And then over here on the reflection question, we're going to say, when you cat the file root.tmux.conf, right? What values in there stand out to you, right? And then what might, when you're complete, when you finish the lab, ask what you might want to change. Okay, so there's that. And we go down a little bit, and then we looked at that, and we do our TMUX. So we create a TMUX session here, and then we do a TMUX LS, and we see that we are in this TMUX session, and it's attached. Fun. Hey, Sor, how's it going? Yeah, hopefully, I hope all that stuff was good for you. You know, some of them made it up to YouTube as well. I don't know if you saw that. Some of them, if you made it to the actual talks, awesome. If you just made it to some of the ones later, that's awesome too. I can tell you, overwhelmingly, the guys who came and talked were super happy, and they want to come back. All of them want to come back and talk again. So if any of you are, you know, engineers that have been in a field of some type and want to come talk to the Linux group, you know, let me know, because I think that you might know more than you think you do, and you can definitely share whatever experiences you've had. Quartz 1, it's going good. I'm hanging out. I'm back on stream. The wife went to work on a puzzle with one of her friends or something, so she's not home. So I'm kind of I'm just going through and building out some stuff. Also, my music's a little loud, so I'm going to turn that down just a tad bit. I'm on one of my stream fast things. I'm not on my normal chill stream music. I'm on one that I haven't played in quite some time. So we're in TMUX here, and we're going to create a new pane horizontally. So we're going to say Control B, and that's a double quote. So that's going to do that, and then I can say, okay, cool. And I can jump between my things with Control B and then up, or Control B and down. So I can jump between them. Cool. Okay. Then I can rename my current window with Control B and comma. This is a cool window. Right? And then now I see that this is a cool window or whatever, right? I can create a new window with Control B and C. So now I'm in a different window. And then I can jump, looks like I can rename it to Control B and comma and call this window 2. All right. And then I can do Control B and 0 to move to that one, and then Control B and 1, I think, to move to that one. Okay, so I can jump between the windows. Awesome. So I'm doing all the things that I can do. And over here on my reflection questions, I might say, how is this different than screen in your command control of TMUX? How is it similar? It might surprise you guys to know, if you don't know this about yourself, that people really do learn well by comparing things. Like, people learn better by looking at stuff and doing stuff like that. Somebody said, so Riven, you said, hello, quick question. How can you still love Linux work after 20 plus years? I don't know. I just, I can sit here and do command line all day and it doesn't bug me one bit. So I might be kind of insane. I can tell you, at least I'm not one of those database guys. No, I'm just telling you, like, across engineering, you always have like one person that you look at and you're like, man, at least I'm not that guy, or at least I'm not doing that stuff, you know? Like, not that there's anything wrong with the database. I'm just saying, like, man, database looks wild to me. Like database engineering is not fun. At least the stuff that I've had to watch people tune out for, like, Oracle databases and stuff. I'm just like, not interested in doing any of that stuff. All right. So we keep going down. We keep doing labs. Control B plus W. View all sessions in their associated windows. Control B plus W. And it shows me all these things. That's kind of cool. And I think I can do Control B and 0, and it'll jump me to that one. Control B and 1 will jump me to that one. And then I think I can hit enter and do whatever. That's pretty cool. Let's over here say when you did CTRL plus B and W to see all sessions. What did you see? Was it what you expected? All right, good, boom, keep going. Now this is successful. TMUX session detachment and attachment killing TMUX sessions, and then we could do Control B plus D, and that'll drop us out of there, out of that TMUX, and it'll detach the window, and then we can reconnect with this command here. Oh, we can also look at them all, see them all. 2 windows in there. We can reconnect to it, and then we can jump between. Oh, wrong one. And yeah, Control A or Control B and P will jump. So Control B will move forward, and Control P will go back. Nice. Yeah, Brother Scar, thanks for coming by. I always enjoy hanging out. I hang out in Rossburger's channel mostly during the week because he's always doing stuff. Is he on right now? He's on. I'll probably have to go raid him here a little bit later. But yeah, I hang out with Ross. He's kind of like my morning. Yeah, just I kind of hang out over there when he's in stream. He does his little puzzle cafe thing, and man, I think I was there before he started. Well, let me think. I think I was there before he started the puzzle cafe. Yeah, I've been watching Ross for a few years now, but I have a little guilty pleasure of hanging out and watching people get killed on video games. That's like my favorite thing, and it's funny because like I'm an engineer and a college professor and all these other things, but I was also once an infantryman, and you know maybe that stuck with me. So, anyways, let's keep going. We're building labs. I'm working on my book over here. I got a book on LeanPub, and I'm adding to it different components of sessions. In this case, we're adding this TMUX session. We could kill the session and get out of it. We can list any sessions, but we've already killed them all, so they're all gone. We can create a new session. There's like all these things we can do. Now we can log the file somewhere, and then we can go ahead and just do like a while true in here, and it's going to loop. And then we should be able to detach from there, right? Control B plus D to get out of there. And then I should be able to, I can just tail dash F, maybe my $sign home, and then this logs. I can just do it like this, doesn't really matter. Logs TMUX. Oops. I don't need that in front of there. Get out of here. There we go. And then now it'll just drop the logs. You know, it'll drop that file as it's being written to in the other window. I'm reading it here as it gets written to that file because we're following the file, right? Basic Linux stuff, but it's super useful to understand how to do that kind of stuff. Then we can stop this and we can kill that session, and then we can say check, and then that's it. Look at you learning Linux. Digging deeper. This is the same type of thing. I want people to think about what they prefer. And then what's the concept of no hup? That's actually very important to this. Let's change this up a little bit because these are the same questions as the other ones. Why might it be important to log everything that happens in a TMUX session? So I want you to, this is digging deep or something for you to think about. And then here's another tool. I'm going to show you guys a tool that I really like. I'm going to say go look at Tmate.io, right? And how might you use this? So this is more digging deeper stuff. Look at the site Tmate. We'll do it like this, Tmate. And then we can link here like this. And when you do this, it'll just do a link, like here's the lab link, and it'll do that. And then it'll say, so look at the site Tmate, right? And think about how you might use this to give access to users or other administrators of your system. And that's kind of something to think about. Also this command, wait, let me see, hold on. Love the screen TMUX Labs, it helps. Is there any harm in using custom config for these tools or getting Use your own configs versus vanilla multiplexer. Cuddlingus, do whatever you want. I mean, like I would tell you, just my advice is always like this: do things like small, like let's go back to the beginning here. I would tell you just like find something that's useful and then use it, and then start changing little things and seeing how it works. Yeah, Tmate's super cool. If you guys haven't played with Tmate, I use this. Like I've had people call me like customers for my company. I work for a company called Redline, and our clients will call us up and be like, "Hey Scott, can you connect to this thing?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And then they'll just send me a Tmate session like this, and I will literally just drop this right here into one of my sessions. And I wouldn't do it for my Rocky box. I'd do it for my jump box, but it would drop you right into their server, right onto the session. Yeah. Well, Cuddlingus, one of the things I was just working a few minutes ago. If you guys are down in our Discord, let me get out of here. I don't want to be on a private message when I bring this up. But if you're hanging out in our Discord and you've been watching Salty Catfish put this together, he now has, if you do lab link, if you do a command in one of the channels of our server, so like in Sandbox, and you say, give me a lab link, it'll send you the link to the system. So you might say, well, what does that mean? Well, now what I'm going to be able to do, we're going to populate that with the Tmate to connect access into my servers, right? Because I have all these servers. If you guys don't know, here in the Sandbox, I have a whole bunch of servers that are out there that mostly people don't use. You can just connect into them at any time. But what I've always had to do is give you guys access individually through like a tool like Guacamole. Well, instead, you guys can come in here whenever you want to jump into these servers, and you can just whisper, basically send that lab link, and it'll whisper you back the link to connect into the server. So I think that that's pretty cool. We won't set it out here like this. It'll be something that people can go grab, but then you'll be able to get in there. Yeah, yep. I'm sorry if I missed anything. I'm focusing on this a little bit because I want to get the book set back out and working for people. So I kind of want to get it like I want. Okay, so let's keep going here. Let's we'll back out of here for now. You can keep doing the lab if you want. There's more stuff in there to mess with. Let's go back to we need this up and do our TMUX sessions. Okay. Next one is working with DNS. That one's good. The next one should be variables and conditional logic. That's there. Next one should be conditional and counting loops. So that one's there. All the way down to here. Then we configure our NFS share. Good. Then we configure our Apache server. Those are all labs that are out there. Then we monitor Linux with Loki. That's there. That's monitoring Linux logs. Then we do our Linux telemetry. Good. And then we do our influx Grafana. That's good. Then we do our antivirus. So that's good. And then we do our installing Slurm. So that's good. And then we've got server startup process. Okay, I did add that one in. So that's good. And then we should have, the next one should be attempted user login. So this is the attempted user login that shouldn't be there and the ones that should be. Wait, so you use Tmate in the background for labs? No, Isobu, I will. For people getting into my home lab, I will be using Tmate, yes. Yes. What I do now, for you guys that haven't been around or don't know, what I do now is you connect into my home lab through a thing called Guacamole, and that gives you connection directly in, and then you need a username or whatever, right? And an account. And then right through a browser, you can just get a connection like this. Then you go like to one of my lab servers. Guacamole's the tool that I normally use. Yeah. This gives you direct access. That Tmate will still be using a chroot jail. Yes. When I use Tmate, you will drop into a shell and it will give you, it will access, you'll get access through a chroot jail. Yeah, so basically you'll get dropped in. If some of you guys haven't seen this, it looks like this. Let me get out of here real quick. Well, actually, let me leave that lab there. We'll do it out of here. History. Oh, shit. Where's it at? SSH2. Hold on, I gotta go check one of my. If you guys don't know, I have a memory of like a goldfish, so I gotta go. Here's my remote home. Here's how you connect to my home lab. I've shown you guys this all before, but just again so people can see. Right, here's how you connect to. Oh, I think my own system is. Oh, you can't do it as root, right? So you got to do it as like streamer 1 at. But before I do that, which is fine, well, let me show you guys this. We come over here, and we got to go in the sandbox, and we got to find the last time I set this up, which is up a ways, right? People were doing testing in here. It's up a ways, up, more testing and more complaining about stuff, and then I'm just kidding. Nobody's complaining. These are my Ansible logs that come out every day. So if you guys are wondering about those, more of that. It's been a while since I set this up, so I might have to scroll up a little bit. I could also search for it, I guess, but the search function in Discord leaves something to be desired. Here. So here's the connection. Here's the last time I've set it up. And you can come in as streamer 1, and here's a temporary password for streamer 1. So I need that when I first go in. So, boom. And it says, oh, connection still refused. Maybe I tore it down. So let's cat my etc shd config. Streamer 1. Oh, well, he's not allowed in through, it's fine. .11.245, this is an internal address, so that'll work. All right, so boom, we connect in here, and it says, where do you want to go? And I'm like, I'll go to 12. Right, so 12, so wait, what happened there? Oh yeah, it went to 12. Oh, it's weird, I must not have fixed that message, so it says Rocky 1, even though it sent me to Rocky 5. And then the keys are there, so you automatically get dropped into Rocky 5. Well, here's the thing. With Tmate, I can drop you into here, and then you can go jump over into one of these, but we can do it via keys. See, we have keys in there, so you don't need a password. And then we say, who am I? You're automatically root over there. Yeah. And this is a jailed environment, so watch what happens when I exit. You might say, well, you're going to exit, and you're going to go back to this connection. No, we're going to zipper all the way back out of this system. So we got close to Rocky 5, we got close to that connection, and now we're back on the regular box again. And that's how a Bastion host works. The Bastion host is, he doesn't allow you to do anything inside of him. He only allows you to pass through, and when you go to leave, he kicks you all the way out the door. You don't even have a shell there. You're actually dropping into a bash script that I give you. You literally don't have a shell. If you want to see it, var chroot jail, right? So this is my jail. And his home, so we'll cd to etc in here. So now we're down in var chroot etc, and if we cat his passwd in here, actually it's just grep streamer from passwd. See how his streamer 1 right here is just simply, he doesn't even have a shell. He's just got bin bastion.sh, and then if you cd up and go down into bin, and then you just cat bastion.sh, there's what it is. Now this is where I messed up. It said that the keys are sending you over, but see how I never updated? It says that you're being sent to Rocky 1, even though I sent you to Rocky 12. Because I selected 12, so I went to Rocky 5. So, hey guys, over on the YouTube side, how's it going? Colorman said, hey Tanis, what's the length of YAML files for CI/CD no matter what? How do you maintain your YAML for pipelines? Colorman, I don't really do, my CI/CD process as far as that goes is like, most of my YAML that I do is infrastructure as code stuff for Ansible. So my Ansible stuff will be as long as it needs to be. And how do I maintain it? I push it up into a GitHub, and then typically I will pull from GitHub with like AWX or Tower or something. There's a new tool that's out there, not new, but it's newer. And some of the guys were telling me about it. It's basically like an Ansible little like execution engine. It's like you can hit it with an API and execute things. Oh, the curl. Oh yeah. This curl was actually funny because I need to fix this because it still doesn't work. But it goes and calls this joke API, and then I have blacklist flags, things that it shouldn't do, which are NFS, not suitable for work, religious, political, racist, sexist, and explicit. So I said, hey, don't give those guys any of that because I don't want anybody getting mad or their feelings hurt or any of that kind of stuff. So just you know, here it's a black flag, or a blacklist flag, and then now these are the things that it doesn't give. But it's always funny when that pops up on stream because it looks like that's what I'm saying to do, but that's a black flag list, right? Like, don't do that. Yeah, there's a free API out there. Yeah, the reason this is busted is because I don't give this jailed environment. It's a long story, but this jailed environment, I don't give it the capability of resolving DNS, which I probably should, right? Probably should do that. Well, and actually, you know, Mr. Extremely, I could just use an internal API and have jokes generated from like a little like Llama or something like that, one of those little tiny llama type things. But I just don't have any of that set up in the lab right now. We build them every now and then, but I always tear them down. This is like how my home lab looks if you use Guacamole. Guacamole's fun because now you just need a browser. But that Tmate thing, you do need at least the basics of a connection. All right, so hold on. Let's come back over here. Let's go to our right. Let's go here. We're still working through this. Where do we get down to? We got to attempted user login, which is right here. And then we keep going down. Attempted sudo access, that's real. And then we're going to do updated golden image, So guys, this is the book right here. KASM. I'm not sure what KASM is. That's good. Colorman style build an interface that uses LM to generate the Ansible playbook that you need from humor language. Nice. Yeah, Colorman, that might be kind of fun. There's a lot of stuff that will generate Ansible automatically for you. There's some pretty cool tools out there. I don't really use any of them, but I mean, I probably should one of these days. Now, 204 is building a CH root jail, so that's there. 205 is UFW, setting up an uncomplicated firewall. Okay. And then setting up an rsyslog, that's there. And then I think we move into, okay, then we move over into Ansible. All right, fair enough. Let's go to our Ansible labs. Here's all our Ansible labs. 1, install Ansible. 2, host file. 3, ad hoc. Those are all there. 4, ad hoc continued. 5 is staging. None of these have changed in a long time. 6 is deploying to a system. Yeah, playbook deploying to systems. 7 is Jinja. 8 is advanced Jinja or Jinja reports. Yep. 9 is API and debug. Yep. 10 is vaulting, which is kind of, I don't want to say a lost thing. It's just less important now. MOTD push. I'm looking for any extra ones, guys. You're probably wondering, like, what the hell is he doing? I'm comparing over here to what I've done in the labs, and then I'm going to make some new ones today. Containers in the web browser, but the back end is Docker. Interesting. Yeah, I haven't used KASM at all. That sounds interesting. I'm always looking for more fun stuff like that down in the Discord too. Like if any of you guys want to ever send me anything or let me know, I'm a big fan of you guys giving me things to think about. All right, 12 is system facts and grouping. That's the one that I tell you guys, that's so useful to me as an engineer. Lab 13 is create users. Yep. Lab 14 is package management. Got all that. Lab 15 is Galaxy and roles. Yep, got that. 16 is web server deploy, which plays on the original web server deploy in the Linux one. Just gives you more package cleanup and security. Boom, 17. 18 NFS deploy. And then a CSV, generate a CSV report. And then firewall configure, we got that. And that's it. Okay. So the lab book and the labs that we've built are all up to date now, which is good. So what I can do with this is I can generate, so this is a thing if you guys have never seen this before, you go to useful links and then you go to like a preview page, and I like to do the preview page on its own, so watch here real quick. I like to pull it up as its own page. If you ever do anything with LeanPub, guys, you can't, with the preview, it'll tell you the last time you generated a preview of your book. So for me, that was back in April. So it's been a while. But we're going to generate a new preview. And you can only do, here you go, guys. You can only do a preview of your book every, like 20, I think. Hey, how's it going, Alt F4? I think I rated you earlier. Hopefully you had a good stream. I know you guys were working on stuff. What I'm doing is I'm organizing, I've got a book out on, it's a big book of labs for the Professional Linux Users Group. And what I've been doing is over on killercoda. If you guys aren't familiar, killercoda is like one of my favorite things on the web because it teaches people how to do Linux or whatever for free. It's very heavy DevOps. If you go in there, this is where when I got my CKA and my CKAD, I did a lot of work out of here. I'm on their front page for Ansible and HashiCorp stuff. But if you ever go there and you're looking around and you're like, hey, I just want like hands-on and I want to drop in for free and do Linux, or I want to learn Ansible, you can just drop in here. And these are labs that I maintain, and also the GitHub is open for these labs. And you just drop in, and this is what you get for free, which I absolutely love this with them. Just you drop in here, you go boom, and you're in a lab. Your teams decide they need a tool they can use to control and operate the many servers you have in your environment. Some of you guys don't know me or are kind of new to this stream, or maybe you just came over from a raid. I am I'm not a DevOps guy. I'm a platform engineer, a low-level systems engineer. I've been doing Linux for 20 plus years. I've been teaching it at the college level for 16. This is kind of like what I do. And down here, I show you how to set up like Ansible. You just click the button, it'll do all the Ansible stuff for you. Yeah, I definitely appreciate raiders. I definitely appreciate anybody coming by. I don't even normally stream on Saturdays. I just kind of hang out. It's just that the wife went over and ran to, where'd she go over to? She's over at a friend's house working on a puzzle or something. I don't know. So the wife's doing her stuff, and I'm just kind of hanging out. I had a college class earlier that I had to, I do like a study session on Saturdays for my college students that want to come by and hang out and stuff. So anyways, this lab, it shows you how Ansible works, right? And then as you keep going, it builds in more and more of like, okay, now we've installed a tool. Now we go check the version. And why do we check the version? Well, the reason we check versions is because when I'm going to hit the internet and doing a Google Safari or a DuckDuckGo Safari, I need to know what version I have, so I ask the right questions. Or, Stack Overflow is one of the best things on the web, but you guys probably know Stack Overflow's been around for 15 freaking years. So you ask a question on Stack Overflow, and you might be looking at like C++ from 15 years ago or something, right? Like it's, so I'm not disparaging it in any way. I think it's awesome. It's just, you need to know how your tools work. So knowing the versions of things, very important. I'm on version 296, right? If I jump up here and I say Ansible, maybe I want to go to Ansible special variables, right? And I need to understand the variables that exist in Ansible. As I go and I look at their documentation, I might need to go back to 2.9 from the version that I'm on. Yeah. I'm a big fan of Linux engineering, guys. Like I've never done software engineering, but I've been a platform engineering lead for many years. I've been a red team lead for AAA, which is a pretty big company that's out there. Some of you guys have heard of them. They're very well thought of in the U.S. But my point is, like, you want to ask the right questions to the internet, because the internet won't call you dumb like other people on the internet will, but the internet will for sure give you bad answers. So you need to know how to check your version, and in this case, you got to throw that to a file, or the lab won't let you continue. And then we go start reading the docs, right? One of the things we talk about as engineers is RTFM, read the field manual, right? It doesn't mean field, guys. But anyways, we go in here and we can read help about the system, because maybe, and I've told you guys this, like I've been working in SCIFs the last few weeks, and that's the Secure Compartmented Information Facilities of like the U.S. government. And I go work in different SCIFs, and I don't have Google. Guys, I can't go out to the internet. So I have to know how to read these docs about, look at all this stuff that's packaged with this basic Linux right here. There's about 3,387 different modules and callbacks and functions inside of Ansible that I could learn about. Yeah, I like that. Read the friendly manual. That's pretty good. So Ansible doc. So I can read a little bit about setup. Like, oh, okay, I want to use the setup module, but how do I do that? Like what's going on with the setup module? What are the arguments that I give to that module? And then like the copy module. Copy is like one of the most common things you do in Ansible. So, you copy something from this server to a set of servers, and then you go and package it. And our labs really, as you go and look through our labs. So I was really organizing labs when all the raiders came in, but my methodology is like this: install the tool, set up a host file. Those are the two most important things. Yeah, I wouldn't learn 3,000 commands for sure. I would learn the basics of how to install something, how to set up a host file to hit all your machines, and that's a big part of using a tool correctly. And then I learned some ad hoc commands, which are basically like one-off commands, almost like you're doing, your ad hoc commands are a lot like you're just ordering individual items off a menu. And then once you understand how to do these things and how the quick commands work, then we start building into playbooks. And playbooks are really designed to help you out and make things better and all that kind of stuff. Oh, ChatGPT is fine. Yeah. Well, I mean, the argument could be made, right? And I could go very deep into that if you wanted. As a 16 years of post-secondary education of adults, I could tell you that it's the same reason, like, why do we lift weights? Like, why go lift weights? We've got forklifts. I got a forklift that can go lift 5,000 pounds right now. Why the hell do I need to be able to pick up 40 pounds? But the question isn't, it's for, I wouldn't tell you to learn 3,000 commands, but I would tell you learn the basics of how the tool works, and then you can reference the commands. So, nice. You're over on the Chromium project? Good. Yeah, guys, I do low-level systems engineering. I do a lot of STIG work, which is like secure technical information, or implementation guidelines, rather. I do quite a bit of that with big government systems. I work on high-performance compute. I work with a company called Redline, which is a pretty good company. Yeah, that's what I do. And you guys are welcome here. We basically hang out. The purpose of my stream, the whole reason I stream, is to take people from being hobbyists and turn them into professionals. So people that like hang around Linux and enjoy Linux, but maybe don't do it professionally, but want to, that's the whole goal of my group. And I've helped now many thousands of people get into engineering over the years and in different capacities, right? So we're over here. We were working through these and we were adding to this. What you're seeing here, what you guys first came in on, is this is my list of labs over here. And then this goes up to my GitHub, which, where the hell is that? Right, and then in my GitHub, which again, I'm no programmer, but my ProLUG labs are here, and then they get pulled through to killercoda. Yeah, well, professional is as soon as you get money for it. That's true. Yeah, some people might just want to do this stuff, do some contract work. They don't have to go sit somewhere. Yeah, I do tell people that Google Safari or DuckDuckGo Safari is important. So this is like the ProLUG labs, and the labs, people do pull requests against them. There's plenty of stuff going on in there, but then these labs build and inform this. And then for people that haven't been here before, we also do quite a bit of monitoring here. Here's all the attacks in the last 6 hours against my system. People trying to log in and connect. Here's some of the security information about what's going on in my system. Over here, we've got logins and users and things that are happening in my free environment that people can hop into. And then we have Ranger Dog. That's my dog. He's downstairs. He is in it's 107. Wait, how hot is it in Phoenix? Hold on. It is 107 in Phoenix right now. Well, the part of Phoenix I'm in. And Ranger is downstairs in 73 degrees. He's got a couple of beds. He moves his beds around. They're normally a little closer. But that's my dog. He's pretty big. Isobu, I made this one by hand. This is Telegraph to Influx to Grafana. I made this one as well. And this one's busted because I don't have the Clam AV information coming in anymore. And then this one is available out there. Yeah, my SSH, my security and logins, this one I made by hand too. Yeah. This one I made by hand as well from some of the systems that I cared about. And then some of you remember I've had to move Grafana servers because my old Grafana was on version like 5.8 and now they're up on Grafana 10, so I had to move to a newer version a while back. Frank, how many, when you do BTOP, how many servers can you look at BTOP at once? Is that like an individual tool for one node at a time? Because these are... Oh yeah, okay, screen, fine. But here's the thing. Well, let me challenge you further then. Are you gonna let all of your users get in to see that data at the command line, or are most of your users just punching at their keyboards, with a board with a nail stuck in their head and you just have to give them a heads-up display like this. Because I've been building displays like this for a long time for companies, and sometimes you just need a big heads-up display. These are just my personal ones. These ones are garbage, but they're garbage-ish, garbage adjacent, right? But when I build them for companies, I clean them up quite a bit more, and then they just put them up on a 61-inch screen in the corner or whatever. Yeah, I use a tool called Loki, and then Loki can throw all the logs in here, and Loki's just an API endpoint. So one of our guys, Fisherman, who works for AWS, he wrote something the other day that basically aggregates all the logs for a day, and then gives you like a summary of like what was going on in the system. So that's kind of fun. All right. Anyway, so we checked on Ranger Dog. We did all that stuff. Earlier, some of you guys came in just recently, but earlier we were working in the home lab environment, and the home lab environment is for anybody that hasn't been here. It's a set of servers that sit behind me, and then I have them virtualized with a tool that's a fork of the Xen server. Xen XEN was bought by Oracle, and then XCPNG forked off of it. And then this is just where I keep a bunch of my servers. And then in this environment, I have a separate network that Warewulf controls. And if you guys have never heard of Warewulf, it's a pretty fun little tool. Let me go jump over to that real quick. Warewulf allows you to... it's a container management tool, and it's never spelled right. So hold on. If you guys have never seen this before, this is Warewulf. It's made by CIQ, or it's run by CIQ, which is the same company that controls Rocky Linux. So most of my stuff's all on Rocky Linux in here. And what is it's stateless provisioning. And you say, what the heck's a stateless provisioning? Well, what it is over here, I can go in and I can work in this container environment for like Rocky, Linux Lab, whatever. And then I have these different containers. And if I SSH to this Rocky box and I maybe CD over to temp and I just touch, stream example, right? And then now I've got this directory. I've got a Scott example, which was probably put in through the container, and I've got stream example. And then if I reboot this server and I kill him, when he comes back up again, he is going to come up. We'll watch him in the console here for a second. Watch him boot. He is going to iPXE and pull everything over here off of the... he's going to pull everything he needs to from Warewulf through a TFTP server. Where's he at here? Hold on. He should be booting here in a second. And yeah, you're going to watch him pull from iPXE. He's going to pull up everything. He's going to go and download who he is, figure all that kind of stuff out. And I configured that all through Warewulf, which is pretty simple. It's going to boot up. And then when it boots up, he's going to be what's called a stateless image. There's no memory of anything on him that didn't come down through the container. Yeah, you can build the Docker images for this through Docker or Podman or any of those kind of things. Yeah, it actually ends up working pretty nice. So what I do is anybody that wants access to these, let's go look at our Discord, because everything in my system runs through Ansible, right? Like I do everything with Ansible, right? Yeah, TFTP is fine for just little stuff, but check this out. Every day, so what was this? This was yesterday. Let's go to today. Every day, my system, Ansible, runs through and says, this is a ProLUG lab check performed at this time. Any ProLUG users may use the system for their own lab or testing. Systems will wipe weekly or as needed. If you reboot anything, you can do whatever you want. And then we have pen testing in the lab environment on the weekends, so people that want to go in and pen test and write up reports on stuff that they did. I've had people write me up reports that say, hey, I was able to do a reverse shell out of your environment. You should fix that. And I'm like, okay, I do. I didn't fix it yet, but I need to. During the week is for normal Linux system administration. You can reach them from this external address. This is right on the Discord. And here's all the people, here's all the systems. If any are down, I can go fix them. If they've rebooted in the last 24 hours, I'll know about it, which I expect them to when people are using them. And then in our case, not everybody's used them in the last 24 hours. In fact, nobody's used them. But sometimes people do, if we go back, look far enough. And then... there's that. Oh, and then Salty's working on some stuff right now, too. Come join stream. Tell him to come to my stream. But But anyway, so this Rocky box is back up. Watch, so we'll SSH back into Rocky. His uptime is nothing, right? He's been up for nothing. If we go into temp, we've got the Scott example from before, but we don't have the stream example. That file is gone because that file was not part of the container. So if I want to take that in or out of the container, check this out. I can go, and this is a container exec. So this is a lot like doing a chroot jail on the box. And I can CD to his temp in here, and I can rm-rf that Scott example, right? Get rid of it. I don't want it in my environment anymore. And it's going to build for the system. It's going to do DNF clean because maybe I added some packages. Only when you exit with an exit code 0 of your last command does this build. Let me show you. I'll show you what that means here. Hold on a second. I will show you what I mean by that here in 1 second. So some of you guys have done. How did you fix the RCE? Not sure what RCE is. Yeah. So if I jump back in here real quick and I just do some basic weird stuff and I echo $? That's not a good return code, right? So now if I exit, it'll say, yeah, buddy. Yeah. You didn't change anything, right? So you gotta watch how you do that. Isobud, what's RCE? Oh, I didn't do anything to fix it yet. I need to. What you typically do is you just set the systems to not allow port 22 out. Well, no, because they're just exposing any callback. There's a way to do it. I forget. I haven't done it yet, Isobu. There was a write-up for it, but I didn't do it yet. But also, it's kind of, if you think about it, guys, it's not really that big of a deal to get a reverse shell when I gave you root. Like, getting root is the challenge on a box, right? Like back in the day, we used to root boxes for fun back before it was against the law. Now, you can't really do that anymore. It's very, very illegal. YouTube, I tried to build a tool that automatically creates a Docker monitoring environment for Docker image. It's like Log Watcher for your image. Here's your blog, actually. Nice. Colorman, if you want to drop any blog or anything that I can read down in the Discord, I will absolutely read it. I'm a big fan of that. Yeah, Frank, one of our guys who came and talked a couple weeks ago, he was doing a lot with eBPF, and eBPF helps monitor a lot of that stuff, like what's going on, what calls are actually being made against the system, directly, as opposed to, there's, people putting drivers into everything, but you can do a lot of monitoring of the system with eBPF. So there's a pretty good talk on that. Actually, Michael Pest is going to come back and talk a little more about some of that stuff in one of his future talks. He's going to keep coming. And he talks, we have a professional links users group that meets in Discord, and then we have different people come and talk. In fact, I got a Red Hat pre-sales engineer coming here in the next few weeks, and what he does is people think, if you don't know, if you're outside the industry, let me tell you, there's a lot of different types of engineering guys. You don't have to just be a software engineer or a security engineer or anything. Like some of our guys do very well. Fisherman does solutions architect work for AWS, and he does that kind of stuff. And his job is to find solutions in the AWS space for existing customers. And man, those guys they get high-fived and treated like rock stars all the time. So do pre-sales engineers. Pre-sales engineers come in when a salesperson has met with somebody, and they just design a solution that meets whatever they need. Call myself an operating system engineer, on virtual machine specialist. I can code whole operating. Nice, Frank. Yeah, that's definitely a good skill to have. Ewo on site said, "Have you explored the default hardening profiles Rocky offers in the installer? Personally, never bothered looking at it." Ewo, I have done from Anaconda installer some of the default profilers. I've been doing that ever since like the early Red Hat had that as well, and I've messed with it a little bit. They're fine. They just do the STIG hardening as the box boots typically. Time Dis, it's funny you say that because I actually, in this talk, this is a talk that I gave the other day, right here, the one that's doing our closed captioning for us. And I'm not doing the talk right now, but one of the things I said about engineering, why engineering? Because no one will pay us to hack. Like, people think hacking's fun and hacking's cool, but you got to do a bigger discipline of planning and documenting. And then I gave some things about how you do hacking and how you apply planning and documenting. And then I got to this, which is, why do we do engineering? Because engineering's worth good money, right? This was from a talk that I gave the other day, which is recorded. All right, anyways, get that out of the way here. We're not doing that talk right now, but that's just a fun little thing. Let me get back a little bit on topic because I kind of bounced around a little bit. Let's pull up a couple of different things that I had here. It looks like I got this. The book's as good as it can be for right now. Oh, we were going to generate a preview of the book, and it'll download for me. It says, hey, look, we're generating a preview of the book, and it'll tell me what steps it's on or whatever. Yeah, I can answer that for money. Oh, Tmate, did you want the talk that I have? Yeah, it's on, hold on. It's, hold on. Johnny Man, how's it going? Yeah, it's on YouTube. And then I think you just have to go find, it's under, I don't have very many videos. Oh, sorry, but the chat, if you want the document, that's down here in our Discord. I tell you guys all the time, if you join our Discord and then loot and pillage everything and then leave like a cartoon villain, I'm okay with that. I'm perfectly okay with that. But it was under presentations. Oh, and everybody put their presentation up there. My brother Tommy did. I did the why engineering talk, so it's right there. Tommy pulled down a bunch of NFL information and showed how you can use, he does data analytics, my brother Tom does. M-Pesa, this was his eBPF talk, and then Fisherman gave his presentation. And all of these two talks are on YouTube as well. Some of these didn't get captured until later. But, all right, let's see, hold on. Is the book done? Are they still previewing it? Let's go download the PDF. So it'll pop up here. And I can go open the PDF, and here's our book, right? Here's what the book looks like for anybody that's interested. Gives you some information, gives you some information about the lab guides that are there, and then it drops you into, here's each of the different pieces. So obviously the non-formatted book doesn't look nearly as good as the formatted book, right? Well, that hopefully makes sense. All those look the way that I want them to. Let's look at the TMUX one. Let's click on the link and make sure the lab link works. That looks good. That looks like that took us where we wanted. I need to middle click next time so it doesn't do that. Lab 6.5. So we'll middle click. It'll take us to the right lab. Good. The little wait message there was just because it's free. Yeah, Linux, everything's a file. True. DNS, logic, all that stuff. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. And then we transition over into automation, and we start doing Ansible labs. Here's the Ansible labs, and those just keep going. All right. So what I had kind of thought about doing was, oh, Colorman, did you give me your blog? Did you link a blog? I will definitely look at it if you've got one. By the way, guys, the bot will talk to you if you ask it to. Don't ever feel lonely. There's definitely a bot. Oh, what is this? This is the Chasm web that was mentioned earlier. Oh. That's kind of cool. I will definitely play with this little guy. That's interesting. I like open source stuff, guys. I'm a big fan. Wonder how Ginger got inside. I actually, I claim no great programming experience. I tell you guys this. I mean, I can script my way and program my way out of a wet paper bag. But I'm a big fan of, like, Jinja just works for me. Like, it works. The formatting of it works for me. That's yeah, I haven't played with any of this. I've never even heard of this before today. So I'll definitely play with that a little later. I think the book deploy looks good, but I want to add some more labs. So that was kind of going to be one of the things I was going to work on today was building some labs. So we'll leave that up for now. We'll leave the writing of the book up for now, just in case. We'll leave that open. But what I was going to do, let's go find, what might we want to kind of work on? Hey, how's it going, Tomato? Gray Fox, thanks for stopping by. People on YouTube, I'm sorry if I've been missing stuff, but hopefully, no, I don't think I missed too much stuff over there. So let's go with, what was I going to work on? I was going to do something along the lines of a new, I have a few different labs that I kind of want to build out maybe. Yeah, out of a wet paper bag. That's basically the way I look at it. I don't do that much coding, and my scripting does not need to be like so tight. I don't need to do things that are like I don't need to do like O of N type processing where it's like you know, you need to get to a solution within X amount of steps. I don't need to do that kind of stuff. Yeah, I am a kind of guy who, if I can brute force it with a script or something like that, it'll work. Gray Fox said, what do I have in the Kubernetes labs? Oh, I'll show you. So these, I wrote these right after I passed my CKA and my CKAD. There are blue-green deployments and canary deployments. So if you've never seen these, if you come here, I'll show you what my labs do. So in my lab, and yes, I made this image, it shows that if you were to do a blue or a green deployment, you always go green, so remember that. But you start with a blue system. So you've got a blue deployment of a type, and a deployment's a real thing in Kubernetes. And then underneath it, you have individual pods, which run however many containers underneath them, right? And then you have a web service. You've got a cluster IP type service that points via labels, right? It has selectors here to labels here, and it connects to your blue deployment. And then you come along and you build some new thing, or some, for me, it's always some dev team comes along and they give me some new application, right? They give me some new thing they want me to deploy into my Kubernetes environment. So I make the green deployment. We do some regression testing. We do some testing to make sure it doesn't fall over. And then when it's done, we clip the service. We tell the service, hey, don't look for the labels over there via your selector type. Look for the labels over, God, I can't say the word, labels over here for Nginx green instead of Nginx blue. And that's how this works. So you come in here, you look at the solution, and I say, go look at this file, right? And this file is some YAML. YAML's pretty easy to read. It just has this, each one of these is its own API call. Up here is its own API call against the Kubernetes to build a config map. The config map is the simplest little index.html file you've ever heard of in all your life. Look, it's a HTML head, whatever, right? Then you do another one, and it's for green. So these are basically copies. But then the 3 dashes denote that it's a new YAML file. Yeah, Frank, there's a version of that. That's called Canary or one-box deployment, and that's a different one. I can show you that here in a second. So this is an immediate flip over. This is a way to do it, but we can do it a different way as well. So anyways, then we create all of this. Let's get out of here. Escape :Q. Once you look at all that, all the resources, then we deploy all the resources. So there were 4 config maps created and 4 deployments created right there. So then we go look at the config maps, we look at the deployments, and we look at the pods that are there. And we go, okay, these pods are container creating. Wait a few seconds, run it again. Some of them are running. Wait a few seconds, run it again. They're all running. Good. All right. So that part of the lab's good. And we'll create a service that exposes the Nginx deployment blue on the internal cluster for port 80, and we'll name it IT web service, or we'll name it web service, right? So we can do that in this way. This is what we call a imperative creation. So we're just creating it at the command line. These are perfectly acceptable for you to do when you take your CKA. So Tomato, you're talking about getting ready for your CKA. You're allowed to do this. You do not have to do this as a YAML, but if you need to, you can say dry run equals client, and then O is YAML, and this will just come to the screen like this, and this could then be thrown to a file, and then you could just do the API call, right? Canary deployment is kind of weighted routing underlying it. K scheduler relies on kubeproxy, and the K9. Yep. So check this out. We'll get this up. We'll describe the service, and now the service. Look, it's looking for the selector app nginx blue because that's what we exposed was that deployment, and it found that, and then it found these endpoints, which happen to be, if we go look at them, these endpoints of 1.9 and 1.8. Boom, right there on port 80. So we're good. We've done that basic thing. If we wanted to, we can come up here and we can curl. Let's make this a little bigger here so you guys can see it. We can come right here and we can go find this name, web service. Actually, we'll use the IP address. It's easier. We'll grab the IP address, come over here, and we can say while true, do curl-s on that guy. And we're going to grep just for blue or green, right? And this is hopefully something, and we'll sleep one done. And this will just go, and it'll just loop forever looking at the system, right? Now check this out. It's all light blue. That's the only thing we see. We come back over here, and we say, okay, let's, yeah, look, and you could also do it here just to see which ones have blue and which ones have green. And then we could describe the service and see that the service is looking at those ones that are blue right now. Oh, now we're going to edit the service, and we're just going to come down right here. You can edit it like this if you want to. And the selector is going to go from blue to green. As soon as I do that, literally as soon as I do that, this flips to green. You guys see that? But, like it was mentioned, what if we wanted to do like only 10% or 5% or some smaller amount just to like take the weight a little bit, and like we've done all the other testing, but we haven't done it to live customers yet. So this is kind of a wild, like if you think about it, this is kind of a wild way to do engineering. We're just going to yeet it over, right? That's a technical term, right? We're going to send it over the wall and just hope it all works. That's not really the way that a lot of us design things. So then we jump back. I'm only showing this because somebody asked about the Kubernetes stuff. A canary deployment works a little differently. The canary deployment works like this. Or in this case, yeah, canary. You can open this in a new tab so you can see it. But now you've got the web service pointing to the first one. And then you can, yeah, CloudStrike engineering. And then we move over here, and the canary can be pointed to both. But in this case, I'm doing an 80-20 split. But look, when you only had 2 pods here under this deployment and 2 pods here under this deployment, there's no way to straddle those that adds up to 80-20. So in our lab, we have to expand this out. We have to do what's called scaling this deployment up, and then we can straddle to have both sides. And then when we're ready, we can cut over to just the one, right? So I tell people a lot of times, get the picture, look at the picture as you do it, and kind of visualize the pieces of whatever you're doing inside of the Kubernetes, right? And guys, like Kubernetes is it looks scary at first, but it's really not that bad, right? It's a set of systems that run, and you'll learn more and more about them. By the way, somebody mentioned who was it? Tomato. Tomato, was it you that said you're going to get ready for your prep soon? Check this out. I have a talk here under, let me show you guys where it is. I'm not going to open it from here, but it's under, oh gosh, where is that? I never know where crap is. I think I have it under presentations, but if I don't have it under presentations, yeah, CKA certification right here. I have a whole talk. Well, it's just a whole thing on getting ready for the CKA cert if you're going to do that. Yeah, the data storage is interesting, and the etcd is its own thing. So check it out. I'll show it to you guys real quick. This is the talk if anybody wants it. This is the talk. It's in the Discord. You guys can go grab it. It's a CKA prep. Hold on. Where do I got that? No, we have a Socratic method one that I was working on. You guys got to help me. I never know where any of my stuff is. Ah, here's the CK certification. So anyways, this is what you would be downloading right here. Give me a second. Looks something like this. Make it a little bigger. And it's like this. It tells you about the cert, tells you about training and where the free stuff is and where the paid resources are. Then it tells you how to sign up for the cert. And then tells you about like 25% comes from this cluster architecture installation and configuration. And these are where you can go do hands-on stuff. These aren't even my scenarios. These are just scenarios that are out there, right? And then how to install a basic cluster. There's some good hands-on stuff that you can go do and you can go read about it. And then this just walks you through all the things that I think that you need, right? Here's workload and scheduling. Practice, you can go, can you create a resource limit against the namespace? Can you create a pod that requires more resources than are available on your nodes? And then what happens? The scheduler can't do anything. Yeah, Tomato, if you've never seen this before, this will get you started. This will help out. But and then here's some pod practice. And let's say you can't do any of these. Here's all the answers. So what pods exist? kubectl get pods, create a pod. Those are all the commands that will run. I thought those were in a different... Maybe I'm looking at a different version of this. Here's some imperative commands of like building out all these things, and this is how you actually run those commands, right? So then there's one I ask you to build this, and then there's some other stuff. So the question was like, you know, what do I have in the Kubernetes section? And it's just these things. I have some troubleshooting labs. I think the troubleshooting labs are good because they make you go look at the troubleshooting. I have a Kafka deployment inside of Kubernetes because I'm a fan of Kafka and I think it works well. I have a MySQL, and then I have a 3-tier application deployment as well. And this shows you how to build Python with, so your front end is Nginx, and then your mid-tier, your application tier is Python with Flask, and then your back end is MySQL, right? And I show you how to build a little 3-tier app, and there's a discussion on that in our Discord as well, which is I don't know, one of these right here. I think it's under projects because this is more of a project thing. I don't know exactly where it is. Somewhere in here. You guys can look it up if you want. But that's called a 3-tier app, right? No, there's no prerequisites for any of this. No, you just click the button and it'll drop you right in and tell you how to do it. But I also have a presentation that is up on YouTube that shows you guys how to do this. And then it walks you through all of this stuff. So, right, like all these labs I walk you through. And the reason I walk you through them is because I'm a big fan as an engineer of just touching a thing and looking at it and kind of holding it in your hand and going, oh, I get how that works. And then you modify it and change it for your needs, and then all of a sudden you're an expert on it, right? It doesn't take long. So, I mean, it does take effort, but it doesn't take like a lot of time if you're like, oh, well, that guy did it that way and I can do it similar, right? And I think most of you can figure that out. So, all right. Where was I at? I was done looking at the book stuff. I was looking at this stuff. How's Ranger doing? Oh, look at Ranger Dog. Now, you guys might be tempted to think he's a small dog. He's over 100 pounds. He's a pretty big animal. But he's also almost 13, so he's quite old. He just lays downstairs and kind of hangs out. That's my dog Ranger. Let's go look at, what was I going to do? I was looking at, we did the book stuff, so the book stuff's fine for now. We were going to make some labs, but maybe we work on the labs. Maybe I'll take a little bit of time and work on the labs later. Colorman, you said, what do I use? Azure DevOps is the thing you're learning right now. Yeah. In the home lab, I use just physical servers. Oh, and I forgot about this. I get to take this server down right here. Look at this. I want to show you guys something. This box right here, he's only got for storage. He's only got like 512 gigs. That's really all he's got. And he's got a couple of disks over here that that's his NFS library. We don't really use that. But he doesn't have much storage. But I just got a hold of 4 SSD disks that I'm going to put in him and give additional storage. And I'm going to put all of the all the lab machines are going to be out on that SSD storage. So that's going to be nice, and they'll be faster and they'll have more space. So I'm pretty happy for that. That should be pretty good. I got to take that box down here in a little bit, so I'll actually turn all of this off and turn them down. I could move them to other nodes, but I don't care that much about this environment, and I want to see the whole environment go down and come back up clean, which it should. Should be able to do that pretty well. All right, what else? What else do we got going on? We have mostly earlier I was just working on Stig stuff, so in the home lab, let's pull this up here. See how some of this stuff's going. I got asked a question about what I use. So in the home lab, I mostly do everything off of one server, which is my P01 jump box. This box can hit everything via host file, right? And there's also some limited DNS running in my lab. I can see all the things that are going on in my home lab. I run Ansible off of here. And then I also have an old version of Ansible AWX that kind of hangs out. And Ansible AWX does a lot of my kind of monitoring, all that stuff. Bandit said, what is the project today? We are just working in the home lab. I might start stigging some of these Rocky boxes here in a little bit and getting them cleaned up for security reasons and getting them a little more set up. I might work on one of the labs. I don't know. I don't really have a good agenda right now. I'm just kind of hanging out and kind of talking through some of the stuff that we've been doing in the lab. One of our guys, Salty Catfish, is pinging me over on the Discord side of things, and he's got a bunch of stuff for us to be able to allow people to get access into the cluster, which is super useful. I think that'll be good. What else? You think about what else is going on here in the home lab. We've got all these boxes. I showed you guys that we have Guacamole, Guacamole is a cool little service if you've never used it. It's just, where's he at? Yeah, you just got access right through a browser to the lab, and then you can come down here to any connection, and you can just go like, hey, I want to be in Blue Node, and it'll just drop you in here, assuming you have permissions, right? And then, do I have permissions as the inmate to become root here? And oh, it doesn't look like I have the right permissions, but by the way, check this out if you guys don't know this about the home lab. Let's go to logs here, and let's get out of secure, and let's look at dungeon. And look, I'm now over here trying to sudo up, and I say, wait a minute, I know that password, I think. And then can I get in as a, oh, I can't get in as the inmate user. Okay, well, wait, maybe I know. Hold on. So in real time, I'm watching anybody down in one of the dungeon boxes over here on our logs. So logs are coming out. I said, do I do any kind of automated Stig SCAP compliance scan? Yeah, I do. Not in my home lab. Professionally, I do that, yeah, with OpenSCAP Scanner, and I can scan and make sure all my systems are at the right level. Yep. And then I can kind of see what's going on there. But I do have to manually harden the things, and the reason I have to manually harden them is because they are, well, when I say manual, it's still Ansible, but I have to kick it off manually. So there's a little bit of process involved there, I guess. Yeah, Colorman, I think Colorman said knowing how the system works actually takes time, but I guess learning new stuff is easy after a while. I think, Colorman, that you'll learn how you learn. I think you'll learn over time, like, hey, I do well when I sit down on Friday afternoons and work for an hour, or I don't do well when I'm sitting around watching shows, right? Some people can watch shows and study. Some people cannot. Some people like background music, and some people do not. Like, I tell you guys, I put the music on for stream. I don't need music. I'm a madman. I can, even when I was younger, when I was in the Army and I was a runner, I could run without music. And some people are like, you're insane. And I'm like, I know I am. I know I'm 100 insane. But some people can do that. Some people can't. Like, I know I'm like really, really bad. Have so little computer power for the home lab. Isobu, it's fine. You don't need much. You don't need much to prove that you can do these little things. Like, can I stand up a Linux box? Can I go make a disk? Can I do these things? Yeah. Yeah, guys, there's a lot of wild stuff that's out there. A lot of stuff to spend time with. Like, even just on stream here, people mentioned like 3 or 4 things I hadn't seen before. So now I gotta go spend some time reading about it. Yeah, you know, it's funny. WSL, for people who don't have a lot of compute power, I think WSL is really good. For me, I don't like splitting my systems. Like, I don't want to do my home lab, like my desktop, for anything else, which is why I have a separate lab for things. For people who are first starting out, I think that's excellent. But that's one of the reasons I tell you guys so much about that free tool killercoda. When I started in Linux world back in the day, you know, 20 plus years ago now, somebody would just throw you a CD, even before DVDs, and they would go, well, if you can't install it, don't even come talk to me again, because if you can't install it off of that CD, you can't be a Linux engineer. And that used to be the barrier of entry to be a Linux engineer, was that. Nowadays, I can get you into a command line in killercoda for free very quickly, and then you can just start messing around with all kinds of different tools and start seeing all kinds of things that might interest you or make you want to go read more about them and that kind of stuff. Oh, live coding, yeah. Learn a lot of WSL specific stuff. Yeah, if I don't have systemd, that's not fun. Man, maybe the inmate's not in sudoers, so I think I have a Scott user down here. No? Oh man. Maybe I can't. You can just su dash like this, and it'll ask you for root's password. And then now I'm root, and then now as root, I've got access. But look, the logging is still happening over here, so. And then I can throw that to wall. And then those, as fast as those can happen, those are actually then being sent over to Loki, and then Grafana's pulling those out. So we could be sitting here watching the dungeons and just watching people down there working on stuff or doing whatever. Yeah, I haven't played with WSL much. I think that the main thing I try to tell people is get into a version of Linux or operating system that is something that people are using. Red Hat's good. Ubuntu is now accepted by the federal government, the U.S. federal government, so you can use them. SUSE is pretty good, which is based on SUSE. That comes from, or that builds up into SLES, which is the SUSE Linux Enterprise Server. SLES. Anyways, yeah, it's close enough. The closed captioning's close enough. It's not great, but it's close enough. All right. So, somebody asked, do I ever use NBDE? I've never heard of NBDE. What is that? Network bound disk encryption. Nope, never used it. I never even heard of that. Never even heard of the technology. No. Might seem interesting, but I wonder how many people are running that professionally. So Lux, very common. LUKS, very common. But this other stuff, ooh. I always worry about when a server is beholden to anything else on the network. That's scary. Yeah. I mean, that's fine. I just, ooh. All right. So yeah, in the home lab, you know, we'll monitor stuff like this. A lot of times we'll watch Secure for fails. and then we'll get all the, these are all the failed logins since we started streaming. Well, in the last 6 hours, these are all the failed logins and how they've tried. There's Ranger failing to log in to being a dog for the day. That's always fun. What happened here? Hold on a second. Hold on, guys. Okay. Where was I at? Sorry, I had some text from some buddies. Like I have some friends that I've known since like 7th grade, and we still keep in touch. And they were texting me about something. So what are we doing here? We're looking at systems. I got to clean a lot of. I got a lot of stuff to add to this, and a lot of stuff to clean up on this. If you guys haven't seen the home lab architecture, let me pull this up real quick. So I'll show you guys what the home lab actual architecture looks like. Some of you guys have seen it plenty and probably don't want to see it again. But the monitoring in our home lab, or in the ProLUG lab, looks like this. This is the ProLUG monitoring architecture. This is how we keep all of our monitoring straight and all of our stuff doing the stuff that it's supposed to do. And some of it's born from just messing around, and some of it was kind of for fun. Any server in our environment has up to 3 agents on it. I don't really like running agents in Linux boxes. I don't know if some of you guys know that about me, but I'm a big fan of keeping our systems as lean as possible. But one that's almost universally used nowadays is Node Exporter. So Node Exporter will push up from your server, it will just expose a port. So let me show you guys real quick. If you're just on a server here, let's exit out of here, exit out of here. Let's just go to like, I don't know, hostbox. And then if we do an ss-ntulp on hostbox, let's just look for Node, right? And there's Node Exporter, and he's pushing up 9100. And what is he pushing up and exposing on 9100 that anybody could come look at? Well, we could lock him down, but I'm not really too worried in the home environment. 127.0.0.1 colon 9100, and we'll just pipe that through more. And he's got a web page out here. Oh, sorry. You need to go to metrics. Metrics, right? Like that. Whoops. Did I do that right? I always mess that up. There you go. And look, here's all his metrics that are being shared out and grabbed by Prometheus every 10 seconds in our environment, right? And Prometheus does key value, right? It's a key value type tool. It wants everything in key value order. So here's the key, here's the value. It's written in scientific notation, so it doesn't just have to be a whole bunch of zeros over there to the right. That's what these are. And you can come in here and you can look for any value you want to. If you were crazy, you could say, okay, I want a grep for, I don't know, XVDA. I want everything to know about XVDA in the environment. And you can come in here and look at it like a madman if you wanted to, right? But Prometheus is instead aggregating that all up for us and then queried from Grafana for us to put this into like a nice little format. That's what's going on there. This is, you got to remember, Node Exporter, the data is ephemeral. If it's not grabbed within that 10 seconds, for some reason, like Prometheus is down for 2 hours, nothing is stored over here ever. It's just gone forever. So Prometheus to Node Exporter, very common. A lot of people use Prometheus for literally all kinds of stuff. I actually have to keep studying for my PCA. I've been meaning to go take that test. And then the Promtail, this Promtail agent, we put on a node, and it can then send logs over to an API endpoint called Loki. And then that just sits there like a dummy holding all the logs. And then Grafana comes in and uses the logql query language to look at it and to pull all the log information, right? So Promtail looks like this when it's in the environment. And my config for Promtail in my environment is just going to go and it's going to scrape. Here's my scrape configs. If anything gets written to varlog messages or anything gets written to varlog secure, Promtail is going to launch that over to this location, 192.168.11.180 on port 3100, which is Loki, and it's going to do a push, and it's going to push anything in those over there, right? This will also, if this is going to push, it will do it in real time. This doesn't batch or aggregate in any way that I know of. This just pushes data over to Loki. So if Loki was down, pushing's going to fail. Promtail agent's down, you're not going to be getting data out of it. There's no batching going on with either of these, any of these services here. But Telegraph is great. Telegraph does batch things up. It batches them up, and it also queues them for, I want to say, up to like 60 minutes, but we can go check. And then this sends information over to InfluxDB, and it's DB version 2, which is the Flux protocol, and then Grafana can query out of there. So this is how my home lab monitoring works. And I have labs on each one of these up on killercoda, so you can do each individual piece, right? So just go in and do any of that stuff and learn how to do this stuff and get better at it. And you know, some of you might run off and you're like, oh, that's really cool, I want to do visualization stuff. Did you guys know, let me show you this, if you didn't know this about them, you can go to Grafana. You can go to grafana.com, and for free they have, look at this, observability at your service. Let's make this a little bigger so it doesn't do that crap. Anyway, they've redone their page. This is wild. What's going on here? Why'd you guys make your page so weird? They have an always free version. Turn that off. They have an always free version of Grafana that you can use. Where are we at here, guys? Monitor infrastructure, let's say. Where the hell do they have that at? I can just sign in. You could sign in. You can actually use Google and just sign into this, right? If you have it, and it'll drop you in. There's an always free version of Grafana. There's an always free version. You can send up so many X amounts of whatever, and you can go do Grafana in the cloud if you want to. If you didn't want to have like a home infrastructure set up like I do, and then you can just push data up there, and you get like 40,000 logs a month or something, which is pretty okay. For anything under probably like 20 machines, it'll be just fine. You get a certain amount of data and pushes that you can do as well. I don't know why mine's not coming up. I haven't been in there in a while, so they probably have me on like some kind of like inactive account thing or something like that. But anyways, you can do that. Play with that if you wanted. So you don't have to have a physical machine. Like I have a virtual machine, but you don't have to have a machine in your lab that does each of these functions. I built them because I wanted to see them work and wanted to see them happen. And these are kind of like standard tools. There's a lot of ways to do this. Like Telegraph doesn't have to go right to InfluxDB. You can put Kafka in between this. And then Telegraph can feed to Kafka. Kafka can be a bus through your whole network. And then on some part of your network, you can pull out to InfluxDB2 and send to Grafana for monitoring. There's actually an example of that. If we go to Telegraph Wayfair, they've got a pretty cool little, pretty good write-up that they did here. And I can link this to you guys if you want it. But they show how they were trying to do this, and everything was like talking, and metrics were getting delayed and stuff, and there were problems. And then this was their attempted solution. And then what they did was they said, well, hold on a second. You come down a little bit, and they go, wait a minute. What if we just did, if we keep going, they go, well, what if we just threw Kafka in the middle of it? And then everything can feed to Kafka. Kafka's always ready to write. It'll be our system bus. And then over here, we can pull it out and get it to the InfluxDB. And then with InfluxDB, we've got permanent storage. Now, you could use Kafka as permanent storage, but most, and you can use Kafka for replayability and other things like that. Most people don't use it like that. You could. It gets expensive, I guess, like if you use it in the cloud like that. But there's all kinds of tools that are out there, right? Most people use this as just a system bus. There's things in the cloud that do things similar to this, like Event Bridge and that kind of stuff. Yeah. Grafana, the best thing Grafana does, somebody said Grafana does a lot of logging. Grafana doesn't really care about the data sources it's pulling from. It just does a lot of like really good visualization of monitoring and stuff like that. Kafka is a system bus. We just send data to it. So the best way I can describe how Kafka works is we go to serverless land, and we talk about event-driven architectures, right? This is one of these like key terms for people that are like CI/CD and SREs and this kind and DevOps guys. And what it is you have something sending or triggering an event, and then that event bridge can either trigger things automatically or things can sit there in the bus until something comes along and queries and goes, oh, an event happened. Mr. Extremely sent me a message into Kafka, and I will go ahead and read the message. So Kafka can be, or Event Bridge in this case, can be almost like a mail system. It can be a queuing system where people come out and poll things. It's like a queue. It's very similar to a queue. But it's also more than a queue, because you've got what are called producers and consumers. Producers are always writing, consumers are always reading messages. You write to queues in Kafka, and you could have let me see if we've got a good, there's some good patterns for it, but like serverless workflows, and then this is one of the best places to go spend time if you want to learn about event-driven architectures. And some of you, this may be what you want to do for a career. I learned a lot of this. I have my AWS Developer Associate certification, but I don't like love this. This isn't really something I care to go do all the time. But this is a good place to go learn about it. And if you go actually learn and then look at like example code, and you look at like patterns, you could put in here, I want to learn. So they've got all these different tools, and the one tool is MSK, Amazon MSK, which is Managed Services for Kafka. And then now here's Kafka stuff inside of AWS, and you can learn how to use that, as opposed to maybe using Event Bridge or Event Bridge pipes, and you can go read about all that stuff. There's all kinds of stuff going on out there, but this is a pretty good little way that somebody used it in their physical infrastructure. I'll link this to you guys, because I know some of you guys like reading stuff. This is also all over in our Discord and stuff. I like that as a good example. This was one of the ones that sold me on learning both Kafka and also InfluxDB. This is why I learned how to use InfluxDB, was because of this doc. And Kafka, I initially got introduced to Kafka via a tool called Shasta. Shasta is a high-performance compute that Cray originally built, and Cray then got bought by HPE, and HPE shelved the Shasta tool. So Shasta is no longer around. It was an awesome tool. You can go look it up if you want, but now it's all HPCM, which is Hewlett-Packard Configuration Manager or something like that. I don't know. Oh man, I don't think my Grafana is ever loading. Look at this. I haven't been in so long. That's probably why. But I use everything home lab, so I really don't need them anyways, I guess. But I wanted to show you guys that there's some good stuff out there. So, but yeah, Proxmox, different. Promtail going to push things. It's going to do them to wherever you send it to. We call them scrape configs, even though they're being pushed. I think it's because the Promtail is scraping those. But you can call these whatever you want. And then labels, for those of you that kind of know how this stuff works, labels act as metadata. So in this case, job is messages and job is secure. And when I go and I look for them, I can extract out via labels, which are, again, just metadata. Key value pairs. Job is the key, message is the value, job is the key, secure is the value down here, right? This is simple system stuff. Everything points to something else. And then Telegraph. So Telegraph is a fun one, because what Telegraph does is it pushes data in the environment. So we'll go over to opt Telegraph. Maybe I have them in Etsy, Telegraph. And in here, there's this Telegraph file. And in Telegraph here, I can configure a bunch of things about how our system works. If I had global tags for like AWS, I could do that. But then I come down here and I go, okay, these are all defaults. I'm not going to change any of these. But I do want to write out to InfluxDB. And InfluxDB in my home lab used to exist at this IP address here. And then I used to just write data over there without any configuration changes. But now I have to use InfluxDB version 2, which is called Flux. I'm going to go look for him. Look at all these outputs. There's outputs, there's inputs, there's aggregators, and there's collectors. Those are the things that you can do inside of this if you care. output to CloudWatch. If you want to send data from your local systems up to CloudWatch, this can do it. Let's keep going. Outputs can go to Elasticsearch. That's actually how Shasta did it. Shasta sent it to Elasticsearch, and then Elasticsearch got queried by Kibana. If you guys have used Kibana, Kibana. Kibana. There you go. All right. I could also just search this, but I'm looking through these things to see if there's anything else interesting in here. Oh, if I wanted to output to Kafka, here's where I would go and do it. I would do my topic that I want to write. Did I say queues earlier? Sorry, they're topics. So they're consumers and producers and topics. There you go. Thanks for the follows, guys. I've been missing them, but Kinesis, that's a data stream if you want to send it up to AWS. All kinds of different formatting outputs. Prometheus clients. I want to go look for, I'm just looking for things that are uncommented, by the way, in case you guys are wondering. Keep going. Processor plugins. I don't need any processor plugins. It's good. Aggregator plugins. Don't need any of those. I don't have any of those. Unless they were defaults. Then we come down here, and inputs are where it's going to read stuff from because it can gather system info. It does that by default when you install it. And we can go look at those inputs. They should be down here in the system somewhere. Where are we at here? Hold on. Do statistics about itself, give you information. Kibana even lets you install models inside to run analysis, if I'm not mistaken. That might be true, Color Man. I've never done that before, if that's true. Let me see if I can find some other ones here that are good. Inputs, where it's gathering data from in your system. And, oh, if you had Luster. Man, if you had Luster running, Luster's huge. Mobus, I don't know any of that stuff. Nope, don't care. All that stuff doesn't matter. Alright, we'll do a / and say influx. So. Yeah, I don't see anymore. Alright, so let's go. Man, there's so much stuff you can configure in here if you want to. But I don't really use any of those things, so they're not configured. And one of the nice things about this is, I'll show you this. If you do a system CTL status telegraph, and then you do a restart of telegraph, give me a second here. It'll show you all the things that it did, and if there were any problems reading any of the aggregators or any of those kind of things. Loaded some inputs for CPU, disk IO, all those things. And then it loaded outputs to InfluxDB and InfluxDB version 2. So if I really wanted to find it, I would go like this. Right, so here's how we connect into my home lab. Also, normally you would never show a token on stream, but this is a lab that I don't care about. But here's my URL for my newer system, which is the 181. And then the organization we write to is het lab, and then telegraphs the bucket. So now I can go grab this right here, and I can go to that in my home lab, right? Where are we at here? Could have sworn we had something up here. Get rid of that. Boom. Connect. This will connect in. It'll say, hey, who are you? And I'll go, well, let's try admin. Maybe that'll connect me. Oh, maybe not. Scott? Maybe I don't know my username and password, right? URLs, buckets. Do I have any username and password in here? Probably not. Nope. I just have a token that was generated. I might have been, it may have done root. I always thought this was, maybe it's influx. Let's see. I could have sworn this was Scott, and then nope. Apparently, I don't know what the the login to this is. But maybe we'll try admin again. I would never done that. Oh, I don't remember the login to it, guys. But I can use the token, right? Should be able to get in via a token. Just need to remember how to do that. Oh, I guess I could send a token in and get connection. Like I've got, pretty sure I got a tool that I can do it out here. But the point is, you can get access in there. I don't remember where I have that. All right, hold on. What would I have named this? Yeah, guys, sorry, I don't remember what I called this. But, anyways, I should be able to. Yeah, I got a tool that I can get in there. I just have to go remember how to do it. I have it on the InfluxDB server for sure, and I can get in there. I actually have the token built into it, I think, but I'm not so concerned about getting in there right now that I care. But I can at least tell that these things are here, and then I can connect to them. If I go back to my like Grafana instances here, I can actually go look at that. Watch this. I can actually go to, like, let's say, browse all my dashboards. One or two of these are going to Influx, so like telegraph metrics. Is this the right one? No, that's an old one. Hold on. I want to say city conditions there. Discard. City conditions, I think, are still pointed at the wrong. I need to get the data from the InfluxDB version 2. So I need to go do my queries. Yeah, that's. I need to fix these. I haven't gotten around to fixing these yet, but gosh, I've left these open for a long time. I need to fix them so that we get our date and our weather and all that good stuff that we care about. Yeah, I can reset it from the CLI. I know that I'm going to look at it and remember what the password is. It just bugs me that I don't remember what it is right now. I don't remember the username either. I've had this before too. I thought it was Scott, and I only use a few different passwords in my lab for simplicity's sake. Yeah, I don't remember. I remember setting this up and thinking, make sure you remember it. And then, don't have my key, yeah, don't have anything locked. Oh well. Yeah, one of these days, Cheeto. We'll get that all set up, the single sign-on from the home lab. Alright. I'm probably just losing it because I've been on too long today. But alright, here's what we're going to do, guys. We'll go find somebody to raid. We'll go raid over to somebody. Rossburger's here. How's it going, Rossburger? You getting on sometime soon? I know you're always around. Somebody popped in earlier from one of your streams, Rossburger. He was telling me that he's like, oh yeah, he's not on right now, but I'm just one of his lurkers, and I decided to come over here and hang out with you. And I was like, alright. So I was working in the home lab. There's my dog Ranger hanging out. There's my lab stuff. I need to work on my lab. Need to clean up my environment for my home lab and stuff. Let's get out of here. And then pull this back up. We'll work more on the lab. I'll be on later. We'll be down the Discord in a couple hours. Everybody that wants to hang out and do some professional Linux users group stuff. We'll be down there kind of hanging out, talking shop. Hopefully some of the other engineers pop in and give you guys some of their insights and that kind of stuff. Yeah, Rossberg, I'm feeling pretty good. I just got done with a bunch of work out at I had to drive about an hour a couple times a week to go work in the SCIF, which is a secure compartmentalized information facility for the government. And I was doing a big thing called a Bright cluster, which is a big high performance compute thing from NVIDIA. And yeah, that was fun. That was a lot of work, and got that all done last night. And then I'm just kind of hanging out today. So yeah. All right, so here's what we'll do. We'll go find somebody to raid. I think somebody's on. Somebody's got to be doing something. Let's see who I'm following that's doing stuff. We got Sid on. We should go to raid Sid. If you guys haven't ever been to Sid Heresy, some of you guys have raided there before with me. He is always doing sound stuff. He's doing sound engineering and soldering type stuff. So we'll go raid over to him. He's always fun, and also he does a huge raid emote while he's around. Oh yeah, we'll do one more of these. I can answer that for money. I love that. All right, we'll talk here soon, guys. Start the raid. Make sure you give them the raid message, which looks something like this. If you want. Oh, let's see. Rage. That's what I like to give when we raid somewhere. Do all the Linux. All right. Talk to you guys later. Take care.